Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's demonstration video of the module assignment. This is a continuation of our previous presentation about Paraline drawing. Specifically, what we're working on again is plan oblique drawings, and these are sometimes referenced as axonometric drawings. So as we start, it's good as always to review the textbook information and then also the lecture presentation that was provided on this topic. The other elements that we want to do or consider are those assignment requirements that are listed in the Canvas software that we're using for the course. So as we start, it's a good idea to get things started by printing out the assignment format information and the example given for the assignment this week. Now, as always, this information is not correct. It's not scalable. It's not traceable, but it is a good checklist of things that are going on in the drawing. Remember, just like last week, this is an isometric. It's going to look different than your drawing, but the general view orientation is correct. The general elements that need to be included are correct, but don't get hung up on this little base thing. It's not necessary. Follow the drawings that we're going to do. That's probably more appropriate. And then there's some things going on here. Just use it as a checklist for comparison, not a good copy to do. As we go through the video demonstration, I think you'll see all the elements that you need to provide. So please be thoughtful of the comparables with the example and what we're doing in this demonstration. So with that being said, it is probably appropriate to have all the previous information available, and that includes the floor plans, the sections, interior elevations, and we'll go through that in more detail. But understand that that information is every bit as important in this demonstration and this assignment as it was last week. So just be conscious of the fact that, as always, we're building upon the information done previously to complete this week's assignment. So as we do that, let's turn our attention to making sure that your workstation or your drawing station is correctly set up. Make sure that your parallel and your T-square have the appropriate functionalities in place, and make sure that you have the appropriate tools, which include the 45-degree right triangle, not the 30-60. The 45 is the one we want to use. So 60-30, keep that away. That'll just confuse you and you can get off use. We're only going to be working with the 45s and some additional plotted angles. Also the architectural scale, and then materials as you would normally have for this assignment. So and as a reminder, we are using the 11 by 17 vellum drawing paper, so we're going to be using that again as well. So the other thing that I suggest is, as I have in the past, have a sheet of paper so you can take some notes. If something doesn't seem right, you can make a note to yourself, come back to that portion of the video and look at it again. I think we're going to go through this process as we did last week, step by step. And I'll probably include a couple shortcuts here so that you don't see me drawing laboriously over things that you could be doing without much instruction. So as a result, take notes and pay attention to the video. Now, A few reminder words about what we learned last week, especially as regards to these Paraline drawings. These are three-dimensional drawings. They're not 2D drawings. They're not two-dimensional. They're three-dimensional. And so the information that we learned last week will be relevant to the things we're going to look at this week. And so do remind yourself that even based upon the idea that we are showing a three-dimensional object on two-dimensional media, meaning the paper is really only two-dimensional, that we're going to pick up some optical illusions and some distortion. And that distortion is normal. I'll try to flag it when it looks, when it needs to be flagged, so that you can pay attention to it. I don't want you to think the drawing is incorrect simply because of these visual anomalies that occur. And so as a result, pay attention to that. Now, the good thing is, as we saw last week, the scale, the size, the proportion all still should be working for you here. We can test by measuring one drawing, our multi-view drawing, and applying it to the drawing that we're doing in the assignment, and we can know that the information is still true and correct. So as a result, these drawings really are giving us kind of a sense of the three-dimensional object, the thing that we're normally seeing in reality. It is not. Those will occur starting next week in the perspective drawings. So this is still a very analytical drawing, and because it's analytical, it gives us an opportunity to compare those very specific features of one set of drawings with another. And so it's a very strong tool for the designer to provide a test for how things are working together. This wall to this wall can now be tested graphically, and we can see if there's any inconsistencies in the design. So these drawings are, as I mentioned last week, are very helpful for the designer to test what they know about their own work, and then and to be presented to their colleagues and their team members who they're working with. So it's a good test there. And then sometimes you can include some vignette type drawings that are three-dimensional of this sort to the contractor if you have something of particular complexity that might not be easily shown in the regular multi-view orthographic drawing. So just bear those things in mind. We rarely show these to the client. It just kind of blows their mind and they're not really ready for it. Perspectives next week, that's what we show our clients. So as we move forward, I want you to please pay attention to what we're doing in the video here, and then do understand that what we're working with is a rough out, and that you will ultimately be placing it on a title block with all the appropriate information that goes with that, the labels and the scale and the titles and all that. So make sure that you have that available as you're working on this information. Now, some other thoughts that we mentioned just in brief. You definitely are going to need these previous drawings that you've been working on, and the reason is this is our best information for building that this drawing this week. And so it's important that you understand the connections. Last week we worked on really an exterior shell that showed what was going on outside the building. This week we're working on interior axonometric information. And the way that gets done is by cutting away part of the shell of the drawing and exposing what's inside. And and we can see that a little bit here, that we've taken off the front and taken off the lid or the roof of this thing so we can see right inside. And now we start to see the relationship between the interior and the exterior of the building. So it's not separate things. They are one thing with just different views. So our design work has to consider both interior and exterior applications. Even though this is an interior design class, there's relevance to the building shell and what's going on the outside. So we have to be thoughtful of that. Additionally, we will be using the information that we developed last week. Now, this is the rough out that I did last week. And so we can use this information very directly. So we're going to need that to shortcut a lot of the work that we would normally have to do. We've already created the shell. We're going to call upon that information again to complete this next assignment. We'll also need the floor plans. This time we'll need the second floor as well as the first floor. We're going to need the section drawings as we did last week. So we're going to need this drawing. And instead of exterior elevations, we're going to need at least one or two interior elevations. So we're going to need to go back to the information we developed a couple of weeks ago in order to complete this work. So please bear all those things in mind as we prepare ourselves for this week's assignment. So, again, the rules, we'll touch on the rules briefly at the beginning of the next video, but hopefully you'll be observing the same patterns of development that we provided in last week's assignment video, that you're going to see a direct relationship to the floor plan and using that to locate where the features are, and then using the sections and elevations to provide us the information on the relative heights and placements in the vertical dimension. So as we get ready to start, I want to just say, please have all your things ready. We're looking forward to presenting this information. Take notes as necessary, and we will move on to move away from this preview and into the actual video demonstration. I will see you when we return for the next section. Until then, I'll say so long for now, and thank you.